People often ask me if a dog without a lot of herding instinct can herd, and that's what we're going to look at today. So you may remember that when most herding dogs herd, they have one ear on the handler and one on the livestock. So they're paying attention to their instinct, but also they're able to listen to and take cues from their handler. So that's really an amazing thing that the dogs can do. Can a dog without instinct herd? Well, first let's look at dogs with instinct. When they herd, I consider it traditional herding. Now, if you have a dog without much instinct, and if they're not afraid of livestock, they can herd, but it's really what I call obedience around livestock because they don't have the instinct to read and control the livestock. So that means you are going to have to step up and do that for them. You're going to have to tell them where to be, when to move, and that puts a lot more pressure on you as the handler. So when we start training the dogs, we train in our house, and then we usually move to cone circles. And I like to use a flirt pole. Now, a flirt pole is like a long lunge whip with a toy on the end. It's like having a squirrel on a leash, and you can whip it out of the way when your dog goes for it when you don't want him to. So you have total control of the reinforcement, which is amazing. And as dogs seem to think of the toy as prey, it's an amazing tool. Now you have to be very careful when you use a flirt pole because you don't want your dog jumping off the ground and twisting because they can get hurt. So when you flick the flirt pole toy up, you do it fast so that your dog isn't enticed to jump at it. I do teach herding skills away from livestock and obedience behaviors too. It's really important that the dogs can do these before they go to livestock so they understand what you're asking. Here, the dog might learn to be flanking. They will learn how to do things without the distraction, the huge distraction of livestock. Now, once you take your dog to stock, it's almost like you have a different dog. And so we work on having the dog learn to do obedience skills around livestock. That might be, we're going to have the dog heel with you. And the heeling is going to be different than your traditional obedience heeling. The dog can be on both sides, and you want them looking at the stock and not at you. So if you have traditional heeling on your dog, you need to retrain this as a different skill and give it a new cue. When you get near stock, you want your dog to be able to sit, stand, do tricks, all these things, recall to you, because if they can't do traditional obedience skills near stock, they can't do herding skills either. And we're going to look at Sir doing some obedience near stock. I think he's doing some heeling and recalls. And it also shows in the beginning, he's very excited, and over time I get him to calm down quite a bit and start to think a little more. In these short videos, I'm working on Sir doing obedience, but calming down. Now here, the sheep are across the fence, and they're a distance back. But he's listening, he's lying down, I release him, I call him back, ask him to stop, and he does a great job. But you can see he's really, really excited. I mean, he's got pretty good self-control. He waits for me to release him, but he's still pretty excited. Now we're going to look at Sir a little bit later in the year. I do some heeling with him, and then I ask him to stop. And he's a bit calmer than he was before, which is what I've been working on. But still, I go over and sit down because the more calm I am, the more calm he becomes. So when he puts his head down, then I ask him in, and he walks in, and then I stop him again, and I get up and I reinforce him for stopping. But just walking in was great reinforcement for him. He loves to walk into the sheep. So I go back, I sit down again, and I ask him in again. And he walks in nicely. He stops when I ask him. I get up and reinforce him again. And then I'm going to call him off. And you'll notice that he comes nicely off, but he's not nearly as excited as he was earlier in the year. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. If you liked it, please hit like, subscribe. There should be links below for my blog and also for the first chapter of my book, Positive Herding 101. If you found this valuable, please tell your friends and spread the herd.